Hey guys, welcome to another video. Today I'm going to show you how to create your own token on the Solana blockchain, step by step, from scratch, with a clean, reproducible workflow. We'll create and fund a wallet, create a token, add metadata including the name and logo, and finally demo sending and receiving tokens in the Phantom wallet. You don't need to know Rust or smart contracts for this. We'll do everything with the Solana command line interface. By the end, you'll have your own named token, logo, and metadata fully working on Solana Devnet. Sound good? Let's jump in. All right, so first a bit of pre-setup. Now, if you're on Windows, the first thing you'll need is WSL, Windows Subsystem for Linux. Solana tools run inside Linux, not directly in PowerShell. So if you're on Windows, you're going to want to open PowerShell and run this command here, WSL install. Restart your PC when prompted, then open Ubuntu from your Start menu. You'll be asked to create a Linux username and password. That's your local user account. So from this point on, everything else happens in the Ubuntu terminal. And if you're on a Mac, you can skip this step and go straight to dependency install. Okay, so before we proceed, I just want to pause here and point out that I do have a companion code repository for this tutorial, and I will link this in the description below. Now this is the readme file, and this is the most important part. It contains every single command that we'll be using in this tutorial in order. So this is a good resource for you to use if you want to copy and paste from as we go along. I also have a token logo guide. This is just some guidelines around sizing and format if you wanted to create your own token logo. I'll let you explore that. And then finally, I've got the My Token folder, which contains a sample logo if you just want to use that to try it out, as well as an example of a metadata JSON file, which will contain our token metadata and we'll use to upload to IPFS later in the tutorial. Okay, so next I'm going to go ahead and open the Ubuntu terminal, and this is the main interface that we'll be using for executing all of the commands throughout this tutorial. Just make this a little bit bigger. All right, so the next step is to install the Solana CLI and related tools. So I'm going to go back to our readme file, and if you just scroll down a little bit to step 1, we can copy this curl command right here. Let's go back to our terminal. Go ahead and paste that in and run that curl command. Oh, you'll have to enter in your password, which you created earlier when you made your profile. All right, and that's going to install a bunch of things, which you can see here, including Rust, Solana CLI, Anchor CLI, Node.js, and Yarn. We won't need all of those, but they kind of all come together as a package. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab this verify installation command. So once it's finished, we can just make sure that everything completed successfully. And as you can see on my screen, it's saying Solana CLI is already installed. That's because I've installed it a couple of days ago. And so you may not see this if you don't have it installed already. All right, and so when the installation is complete, you should see some output like this, giving you a list of everything that was installed. And let's go ahead and paste that command and just verify everything. Okay, great, perfect. So that outputs the versions of each thing that it just installed, and we're ready to proceed to the next step. Okay, so our next step is going to be to create our wallet. Let's scroll down to step number 2 on the README. But before we can do that, we're going to want to set our local Solana CLI to point at Devnet. Okay, so let's go ahead and copy this first command here. Go ahead and enter that into your terminal. And you should see as a result here that we're now pointed towards api.devnet.solana.com. So with that out of the way, let's go back over to the README and create our wallet. So a wallet is actually known as a key pair as well, meaning a public and private key. And here's the command right here, solana-keygen new, with an optional out file parameter. And what this file does, devnet.json, is it basically holds the public and private key. And this is essentially our identity on the Solana network. So let's go ahead and grab this. And if you didn't specify this file, by the way, you could just do Solana keygen new, and it'll output a default. Instead of devnet.json, it'll be id.json, I think. And it automatically sets that as the active wallet. But I like this a little bit more explicit approach here because we may want to have a different wallet for testnet, for mainnet, and so forth. So it's good to be a little bit explicit. So we can go ahead and copy that, paste it into our terminal, It's going to ask you for your passphrase. Oh, sorry, it's not asking you for your passphrase. It's asking you to create a new passphrase for your wallet. So this is your wallet password. Okay, perfect. So we can see it's output the public key and the location of the key pair. What I like to do is basically just copy all this information and dump it into Notepad for future reference. So I'm just going to go ahead and save that right there. Okay, let's go back to the README. Now the next step, right down here, Solana config set, what this is doing is it's basically telling the Solana CLI, hey, this is the wallet I want to make active. So any commands that I issue from this point on, execute that against this wallet. So it's setting the active wallet. Let's go ahead and paste that into the terminal. Perfect. All right, check your config. Let's go ahead and copy this command, and let's just make sure that everything looks good up to this point. Okay, perfect. So the next thing, we're going to need some Sol for testing, which is basically the currents of the Solana blockchain. And the reason we need this is, just to pay for gas fees and things like that. So we can use this really convenient CLI command, Solana airdrop 2. I believe that's the max that it lets you do in a given time period. So let's go ahead and paste that in, airdrop 2. There we go, the transaction's finalized. Now I believe we can check that by saying Solana balance. There we go, yeah, and it reflects back to SOL. Perfect. All right, so now that we've got a funded wallet, we're ready to go ahead and create our token. So let's scroll down to step number 3 right here, and let's copy this line. Let's break down what's going on here. So spl-token, create token command, and this program ID right here, this stands for the Token-2022 standard, which is the latest token program on Solana. And one of the great features of this program is that it has native support for token metadata. Okay, so let's go ahead and run this command. All right, and once that's done, let's just go ahead and copy. I like to copy kind of all of this block right here. And this address, this is going to be really important for us. So this address that it's returning is what's known as the mint address. So I'm just going to dump this into Notepad real quick. Okay, so Solana is has a very accounts-centric architecture. So everything is made out of accounts. And the first account here is the token mint account. And the mint account, basically its purpose is to define all the rules for the token. So the number of decimal places, the mint authority, that is who is able to mint new tokens. And in this case, it'll be your wallet, my wallet, the wallet who actually issued this command a second ago, which is the same as the wallet that we just created. Now, token balances are stored in a different kind of account. And that kind of account is known as a token account. So let's go back to the README. Let's scroll down to step number 4. Let's take a look at this command here. So spl-token create account, and then we're going to pass in the mint address, which we just got back from our previous create a token mint command. All right, so just to recap, the mint account defines the parameters of the token, the characteristics of it. The token account allows a wallet to hold a token of that kind of mint. Okay, so let's go ahead and copy this. What I'm going to do is go over to Notepad so we can replace the placeholder with the actual mint address. Now that's going to be the address that we copied from the previous step. So I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste that here. Now I'm going to copy this entire command and go back to the terminal, and let's enter that in. Okay. So that was successful, and that gave us our new account ID. So again, I'm going to go back into Notepad, and it's just good practice to keep track of all this stuff. So this is going to be the token account, which will actually hold our new token. There we go. All right, let's go back to the README and look at the next step, which is going to be to mint 1 million tokens. Now, of course, you can replace 1 million with whatever number of tokens you want. You want 50 million, 100 million, knock yourself out. Making money is a lot of fun, so definitely replace this with whatever number you want. Okay, so again, I'm going to, and you might be wondering, as I did the first time I did this, like, how does the CLI know which wallet it's sending these to? Well, that goes back to the previous step where we created our new wallet and we set this key pair so that the CLI knows that we're dealing with this particular wallet, this particular key pair, so we don't have to explicitly say it every time. Okay, so I'm going to go back to Notepad and sort of fill out this command here. Mint address, so again, that's back here. The address that it gave us back when we created our Mint account. So then I'm going to grab that, go back to the command line. Perfect. Okay, so it's minted 1 million tokens. Let's go back to the README. And now with this next command, we can actually check the balance and verify that 1 million tokens exists. Okay. And again, this is saying, just to kind of break this down, this command is saying how many tokens, or what is the balance of the token of this mint address in my wallet. And the my wallet part is implicit via the key pair file. I just want to kind of hammer that home because it's quite different from Ethereum. So mint address, again, is going to be here. All right, and let's check our balance. We should see 1 million. Perfect. Okay, so we've successfully created our token. We've minted 1 million tokens to our wallet that we created in the previous step. So far, so good. Okay, so now that our token is live on Devnet, we should be able to verify it or see it in a couple of different places. So I think that's what we'll do next. And one of those places is step 6 in the README, the Solana Explorer. This is like the BlockExplorer of Ethereum, if you know it. And then we should also be able to install the Phantom wallet and import our local wallet and to be able to see our token balance there. So let's start with step 6, the Solana Explorer. So we're going to copy this. All we have to do is replace mint address with our mint address. So again, I'm going to dump this back into Notepad and do that replacement. Right here. Okay, so then we should be able to grab this and just enter it right into a new browser tab. Let's give it a try. Cool. Okay, so we can see Token-2022 mint, so it's reflecting the right program. That address matches what we've recorded, and we see the current supply is 1 million. And the mint authority, that should be the public address of our wallet as well. Now, you'll see that there's no logo, obviously, and no token name. So the name of the token, the ticker symbol, the logo, and all those things that look nice in the UI, those aren't part of the mint account or the token account. That comprises what's known as metadata. So we need to actually set that separately, which we'll do in just a minute. But before we do that, let's try to take a look at Phantom Wallet. So I've got the Phantom Wallet plugin already set up, but what I'm going to do is link the link to download this in the video description so that you guys can set it up. It's really easy. Just follow the link and follow the setup instructions, and then you should be able to have Phantom Wallet available as an extension right in your Chrome browser. Okay, I'm going to enter my password to open it up. Now, this wallet that it's sort of defaulting to, this is my old test wallet. This isn't the one that I created in this tutorial. So what I'm going to have to do, and you guys would follow the same process, is import the wallet that we just created into Phantom. Okay, so I'm going to click on the avatar in the top left corner and click on the plus sign that says Add Account. And let's look at our account import options here. So what we want to do is import private key. Okay, make sure Solana is selected. Now to get our private key, let's go back to the terminal. And what we can do is cat for concatenate, and then we need to pass the file name for our key pair, for our wallet key pair. So let's go back on over to the README, and we can grab that from any one of the commands here that used it previously. So go ahead and grab that entire file path and then paste that right after cat, and that should show us the contents of that file. And so this byte array here is our private key. So what we can do is just copy everything in between these two square brackets. Copy that, and let's paste that back into our wallet. Where'd my wallet go? Okay, so back to add account, import private key, paste the private key there. Oh, maybe I did want the including the brackets. So let's go back and just grab the whole thing. Yeah, I think it wanted the entire array. My mistake. There we go. That looks better. Okay, and we can see the account address that matches what we have in our notes. And we got to name it. Let's say, okay, I'm going to say JS wallet. Okay, import. Okay, good. Now let's scroll down. Okay, perfect. So we can see the amount of SOL that we airdropped minus a little bit of gas fees. And we can see our unknown token, 1 million. And it says null here because we haven't yet defined the ticker symbol, the name of the token, or the logo. So actually that's what we're going to do next. And then we should be able to see all those things populated right here in our wallet. All right, guys, so now we're ready to move forward with setting up our token's metadata. And the metadata includes things like the token name, token description, ticker symbol, and token logo. So things that'll give our token a little bit of personality. And so what we're going to do, we're going to use a service called Pinata. And what this is, it's basically a front door for another service called IPFS, which stands for Interplanetary File System, which is a decentralized file store. So it's perfect for blockchain work. And so what you're going to want to do, if you don't have an account, go ahead and click on Get Started, set up your account. I've got one, so I'm just going to log in. It is free to join. And upload images in. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take our logo, upload that first. That upload is going to result in something called a CID, which is basically a hash of the uploaded content. And then we're going to use that hash, the image hash, to reference it in the metadata.json file. And so to show you a little bit of what I'm talking about here, again, in the code repository, there's a folder called My Token, and there's some templates for all these things. So there's a sample image that you can use or replace with your own image for the logo. And then the metadata file is right here. And you can use this exact file as a template, just replacing my token, MYT, with whatever you decide to call your token. Okay, so I've cloned this repo, and I've also got a BlockExplorer folder, and that represents my personal token that I'll be creating. And of course, you would replace that with whatever your token name is. And so if I drill in here, I've got my logo and I've got my metadata JSON. So let's start by uploading the logo first. So I'm going to go back to Pinata. I'm going to click on Add, and let's do a file upload. And then I'll reference that logo. Okay, that looks good. I'll go ahead and click Upload. Okay, so once our image is uploaded, what we want to do is click on it and grab the absolute image URL from the browser. And let's go back and plug that into our metadata JSON file. So I'm going to open up my file. And right here where it says image URL, go ahead and replace that with the fully qualified URI. And one more time down at the bottom under the properties files array. Okay, let's go ahead and save that. Now let's go back to Pinata, and what we want to do now is upload our metadata file. So I'm going to click on Add, File Upload, navigate to my metadata.json, click Upload. Perfect. Okay, now let's go ahead and copy our CID for the metadata JSON. And I'm just going to save that in Notepad for now. And our next step is that we need to associate our metadata with the actual token. So if we go back to our README, step 9 should have a command which will allow us to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that, bring that back into Notepad, and let's fill in our mint address. I'm going to grab my mint address from one of the last commands. That goes right here. And then our CID right here. Okay, so let's go ahead and execute that command. Okay. Okay, and so the problem is I'm still not seeing my logo populated in the Phantom wallet. Now, you guys may or may not be encountering the same issue, but I've done some digging and I've tried a couple of things. I've cleared the cache and the memory from Phantom wallet. That didn't work. And I've done some digging, and what I sort of found out is that with Pinata, it seems like they've made some changes to the free tier where they don't publicly pin your assets to the IPFS network. In other words, they only exist on this more local Pinata node. And that may be causing some problems in terms of Phantom being able to see your image. However, it doesn't explain why they can see the metadata but not the image, so I'm not 100% sure there. But what I do want to do is provide an alternate solution here that should bypass this issue. Now, there's another file store service called Storacha. Now, this service does pin your image or whatever other file you upload to the IPFS network directly. So this could solve the problem. Now, what you can do is create a free account here. You do have to enter a credit card, but they only charge you if you go over, I think, 5 gigabytes of storage. So it should be totally safe for this tutorial and then some. And so the idea is you create a workspace. I called mine BlockExplorer. And from there, it looks exactly like Pinata. You go to Uploads, you want to upload your metadata.json and your image exactly as they were before on Pinata. Well, the one change that you do want to make is, again, you want to upload the image first, and then you'll have to locally update your metadata.json file to reference that new image location. So if you can see here, this is my local metadata.json, and I've updated that in 2 places to point to the new image location on Storacha. Right here, line 5, and right here on line 20. So then once you do that, save your file and then go ahead and upload your metadata.json file. Now you can drill into these right here and click on the URL. And you can already directly see that this logo exists on IPFS. So you can click the logo and you see it in the browser. You can go ahead and copy and paste this URL into Notepad and do the same with your metadata JSON. And from there, what we need to do is reissue the update metadata command to point to these new locations on Storacha on IPFS. So we can go back over to the README and go to step 11, and we can go ahead and copy this update command right here, spl-token update metadata, the one with the URI, because all we really need to do is repoint to our new metadata JSON on Storacha. Okay, and what I do is just kind of copy that into Notepad, and you can see I've already replaced my mint address as well as the metadata JSON at the new location. So let's go ahead and issue this command in the command line. Okay, now that's been successfully updated. So what I'm going to do is pause the video. Let's wait a couple of minutes and then recheck Phantom Wallet. All right, guys, so it's been a couple of minutes. Let's recheck the wallet. Oh, I don't need that. Just need to open my extension here. And wow, look at that. Beautiful. Now we're getting the logo. We're getting everything. We're getting the metadata. So that did work. That solved our problem. Excellent. So I guess the takeaway here is use Storacha rather than the Pinata free account. And you see here under gateways, you only have this custom gateway. And see, that's really what's not working for Phantom. You need to choose the public gateway, but I can't do that since I have a free account. It won't let me create a new. See, it says, you've reached your gateway limit, basically. Upgrade. So I would need to upgrade to get to a place where Pinata would actually publicly pin my image on IPFS. Okay, now that we've got our metadata set up, let's do one final test and make sure that we can transfer tokens from one wallet to another. So what I'm going to do is open up Phantom, and let's go ahead and click on the icon on the top left-hand side and create a new account. So I'm going to do Add Account, create a new account, Account 3, that's fine. All right, and so we're on account 3. So what I want to do is grab a reference to that account number. So I think I can just click on receive here, Devnet, and copy that account address. So I'm going to just save that in Notepad real quick. Account 3. Okay, now let's go back to the README and let's grab the command to transfer tokens. All right, step 10. So I'm going to copy that, and that's going to take a mint address, which we already have, and the recipient address, which we just kind of copied into Notepad. Let me paste that here. All right, first I'll replace the recipient address, and then the mint address, I've got a reference to that right here from the last command. So I'm going to grab that and replace that right here. And let's go ahead and execute this command in the terminal. Oh, the recipient address is not funded. Okay, that means I missed a step. I need to do an airdrop into my new wallet so that it can cover the transaction fees. So, okay, so let's do a Solana airdrop 2 followed by the target account number. All right, perfect. So now our third wallet is funded, and let's try that previous command again, token transfer. Okay, and now we're getting an error saying recipient's associated token account does not exist. So if you remember from earlier in the video, we said that a wallet needs to have an associated token account of the type of token in order to hold that token, if that makes sense. So what we can do is, there's an easy fix for this. We issue the command again with an added flag at the end, fund recipient. Now what that does is that tells the CLI to go ahead and create that token account behind the scenes so that the transfer will go through. So let's try running that again. Perfect, and it looks like our transfer was successful this time. So let's go ahead and verify that by looking back into our wallet. Oh, and there we can see our transfer of 100 BXT into our account 3. Now let's go back to our primary account and make sure that that's been deducted. Yep, 999.9. You won't see the exact full number there, but you can tell obviously that something's been deducted. So our transfer has been successful. All right, guys, well, that'll do it for this video. And again, we've sort of gone over how to set up your Solana CLI, how to configure it, how to generate a wallet/key pair, how to create a mint account /new token, how to associate metadata, including name and logo with your token, how to create a token account, and how to transfer tokens from one wallet to another. So that should give you pretty much all the basic tools that you need to create a new token on the Solana blockchain. If you guys found this video interesting or helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care. Bye.